Good morning guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily. I am here to do a mid-year WIP parade, which I had kind of forgotten about doing a mid-year WIP parade because, yeah, life. And then everyone started posting theirs. I've been watching some good ones and I thought, I asked in my last floss tube if I should do one. Resounding yes please. So here is my mid-year WIP parade. I have been collating information for about 2 hours now because I'd forgotten, as someone who doesn't traditionally keep track of their stitching terribly well unless it is on Pattern Keeper, which I'd say 70% of my projects are on Pattern Keeper now. Yeah, it takes a fair while to trudge through. Go back to the end of last year, which for continuity's sake, I happen to be wearing the same shirt today. You can't see the picture on it, but my end of 2023 WIP parade, which I actually filmed on the 1st of January, so I did pretty well doing that. Yeah, I've basically replayed that, screenshotted pictures of, because I don't take progress pictures terribly well, screenshotted some. The pictures from my WIP parade are going to be a little bit blurry, but you'll get an idea because I've literally had to screenshot them from the video. So got a slight little frog in my throat this morning. Hopefully that'll sort itself out as I talk a bit more. I'm off work today. It is Tuesday, July the 9th. And yeah, I've got all my WIPs around me with various information as I have it. Quite a lot of these I have not touched since January. So obviously I'll be telling you which ones I have and haven't touched, and I have at least 1, 2, 3, 4 new starts since January. Okay. Right, so I'm going to dive straight in. I've written them down in the order that I kind of filmed them in last time, so I'm just going to go again with where we were. So I always do this in sections. My sections are HAEDs, full coverages that aren't HAEDs, my long dog samplers, because yeah, there's a fair chunk of them, and then there's everything else which isn't full coverage but is a cross stitch. Now if you're new to me or just watching because I've simply called it mid-year WIP parade and you've not met me before, this is actually the first video after I've been on FlossTube for 4 years. My first video went up in the first week of July 2020. So it's been 4 years. I am sitting at, let's have a look today. I've powered up my old phone for continuity and pictures. I am using an old version of Android. I know this because it is my old phone. I'm currently at 2,733 subscribers. So for people who are new to FlossTube and posting videos, unless you get shouted out by the biggies, and I don't stitch things that they are interested in, so I'm under the radar completely, it takes time. I'm in a couple of cross stitch groups and one of the ladies was posting going, oh, I've put up 2 videos and I've only got 16 subscribers or something. It was something really low. Why have I not got 8,000 views and 2,000 subscribers already? I see people who've put up 2 videos and have got this. That's because they're friends with people who are huge in the cross stitch community. I'm not. I'm me. Hi. It takes time, but I don't do it for the subscribers. I am not monetized. I've got enough subscribers to monetize. I wouldn't make a lot of money being monetized, but this is my hobby and I'm not going to monetize my channel. I don't see the point in monetizing for what would it be, a couple of dollars a month in revenue. The ads that you get at the beginning of my videos, I cannot control. That is YouTube driven. If you ever get an ad in the middle of one of my videos, please contact me because I am not monetized and you should not get an ad in the middle of my videos. The ones at the beginning that you have to skip are beyond my control. YouTube does that. They take that as payment for me posting. I think basically everybody, you can't control that. But middle of your videos, yes, you can control that. That is down to monetizing, and I'm not. So if you ever do get one, please let me know, because that's naughty of them to slot them in. Okay, so my whip parade, that's my 4-year. I've been on 4 years. It takes time, but here we go. And I'm simply here for my stitching. Yes, I have an Etsy shop. Yes, I occasionally talk. I usually talk. I try to keep it to the end of my videos. Not today. We are a whip parade today. But if you go on to watch my videos and you go, oh, I've not seen her videos before, and here she is yabbering on about needle minders. Yeah, I do make things. Needle minders, scissor fobs, project bags, the normal shtick. Because I'm a crafter, because I make lots of stuff. But I keep that to the end of my videos. I usually say, okay, that's the stitching. And it's a way that people who watch my videos and have done for years can support me. There is no other way. You cannot buy me a coffee. You cannot Patreon. I don't do any of that. I make physical items that I love myself and I sell them. So that's that. So if you are just clicking on because it's a mid-year whip parade, you've heard me going, I don't monetize, I don't this, I don't that, and then you watch one of my normal floss tubes and I'm showing you things I make and sell, I do that, but I'm not. That's not why I'm you'll see from my whip parade I am a stitcher. Let's go. Hades. Right, okay, so over the years I have gathered Hades together. I have finished a couple, but not many. I've not finished a full-size Hade yet. I have finished a mini, I've finished a quick stitch, I've finished a story keep. I've not got them to hand, blah, 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 they're not here. Okay, the key is my oldest Hade whip. I've been stitching on this for 4.5, 5 years now. I found cross stitch in back end of 2018, 2019, I think. By 2020, I had enough whips and I found floss tube, so I thought, right, go for it. The first few videos are diabolical, but they're quite entertaining to watch back. So my key has progressed, and it is enormous. It's one of these that shows that you can stitch a Hade on whatever fabric. The 25 count that it says on the pattern is a guide. You can stitch on whatever you like. All it does is change the size and change the amount of floss you're going to need. Now, I don't kit. I have a master set. I have a couple of projects that are kitted, mostly because they've been gifted to me or I have purchased them as kits. Everything else I basically stitch from stash, and I have a master set of DMC which I pull from. I'm not bananas over dye lots. DMC I find very consistent. I have some vintage DMC which does not go in my floss box. The vintage DMC tends to be slightly different colours, and I'm happy to use them. I just use them in something that I know I'm not going to then need more of unless I have multiple skeins of vintage DMC, like my fancy lavender and lace lady. I bought a vintage kit. I bought somebody's kit up from the 1980s, is what I mean. I didn't buy a kit. I bought somebody else's kitted project that they never started. Okay, the key. I'm going to attempt, I might miss a few, and if I miss a few, I'm really sorry, to put up a picture of what it will look like fully done. I should have pictures of everything. I've been doing this for 4 years. I should have pictures of everything. It's by Kirsten Mills. I am stitching a standard size, but it's on 14 count Aida, so it is substantial. This is a portrait picture, so that's the top. And it last year, at the turn of the year, 1st of January, it was at 45.08%. It's now at 49.4. I mean, seriously, what am I doing? I need this at least 50%. I need to do 0.6%, which will be about 5,000, about not that money. About 2,000 stitches perhaps to get it to 50%. So I need to just get on with this. So here we go. I've colour completed the black. I've colour completed the 823. I've filled in bits and bobs here and there. I'm going to scroll it up. Here is the dragon on the key. He is glorious. He's almost completely finished. And there is the bottom of the key. And I've filled in one brick. And in this piece there are little moths to find. There is a moth. Colour's all right today. It's very rainy here today. I'm in the conservatory where I usually film because the light's good. In the winter I move up to the bedroom because the light is artificial but good up there. So there's my little dragon on his little key, looking glorious. There's a lot of ivy leaves at the top, and there is a lot of grey bricks to do. So I need to get on with him. This is super easy stitching, 14 count, 2 strands DMC. So yes, right up close, you can see tiny bits of fabric. Okay, tiny bits of fabric have gone up on the wall. It's fine. It will get washed. It will all floof and smush together a little bit when it's washed and finished. Probably a wall hanging, probably not framed, probably just backed, stitched down carefully with some very pretty binding on the sides, because it's huge, because it's 14 count, the key. I work on it now and again. It stays out and about with me pretty much all the time. I then showed it's a peekaboo of Sea Beacon, which I have here. Crikey, oh goodness me, I don't know who this is by. Give me 2 seconds. I've got my old phone on and all the old patterns are on there. I had a phone disaster in about March. It's by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. So it's a peekaboo Sea Beacon. So it's like a snapshot taken from the big picture. And last time I filmed, it hasn't changed. It's still at 22.31%. I haven't stitched on it this year. I'm going to leave it out now. I think it's time to put some stitches into her. So that's the very top of her head. There's the parting in her hair, so her hair comes down, and then she's got a great big eye and the side of her face. I should have put a picture up already of what it looks like finished. I don't know why my voice is not working. This is no good for what's probably going to be an hour-long video at least because of my whips. So I'm going to keep her out. Sea Beacon, she's on the keeping out pile. Okay, next we've got the Amazing Animal Kingdom. I have not worked on this. It's still at 6.75%, exactly the same as it was at the turn of the year. And what I said about that at the turn of the year still stands. I don't really have room in my life for more than one bookshelf at a time. This is on 20 count Aida over 1. I started in the middle and went up to the top and then found the dolphin, stitched in the dolphin, found the rainbow, thought let's go for it. And for a little while, about 2 years ago, might even be 3 years ago, I went bananas and did 6.75% in a very short space of time, and then changed out my projects, came to a slidey stop, and that was that. It's not been touched since. So my sweet spot is 20 count Aida with 1 strand of thread, 1 strand of DMC. That's my sweet spot. I only stitch full crosses, every single piece of my work, unless it's got a specialty in it, which I don't actually think I have any whips with specialties, even fractionals. I have started, my Bella Filipina will have fractionals in it, but I'm a full cross and I stitch 1 stitch at a time every time. Even if it's a monochromatic piece, I stitch 1 stitch at a time. I very, very rarely do a half stitch to count and then come back, because I can see the difference in that stitch. On the big scheme of in the big scheme of things, on a finished piece, you can't see. You couldn't tell if you stitched half stitches and then went back and crossed them later in a big long line. But as I'm stitching it, I can tell. Sorry, somebody ferreting in their car boot. You can just see it through the window. I'm still adjusting to having houses all the way around, because where I used to live, when I did my winter, my Christmas end of year whip parade, I wasn't living here permanently. I now live here permanently. So yeah, I was still in my old house a bit. I still filmed a bit there, and I live here now. Anyway, next, meditation. has not moved. It is still at, I haven't written it down because there was no point because I didn't stitch on it. Let's find it on my old phone. I can't show it you on my new phone because I'm filming on my new phone. It is still at 4.77%. It still looks like that. It's a beautiful piece of picture, which I should have already put up. It is by Elizabeth Welker. It is a Haid. I don't know which way's up right now. Could be that way. Could be. Anyway, at the moment it's fairly symmetrical. Well, it's symmetrical anyway, but whichever way up it is, there's meditation, there's my start. I started in the middle, I went bananas. I've got myself stored on this black. Everything I said at Christmas, it still stands. And it's going, I'm okay. That side to keep out, that side to put away. Okay, next we've got Hubble Bubble, which is an ornament on 25 count. It should look like this when it's finished. It is Lisa Parker. I can remember that one offhand. It has not changed. It is still at 7.54%. It still looks like this. I am leaving this out. I want to stitch on this. 100% want to stitch on it. Next we've got a quick stitch. An Amy Stewart quick stitch, which is not a quick stitch, from the stitching shelf. It's from the winter section of the stitching shelf. What they do is they basically take the snapshot, make it into a full-size Haid and say it's a quick stitch. It's not. Will look like this when it's finished. Has not moved, 2.11%. Exactly where we were. No, not doing it. Mini Sunflower Cottage has not changed. It's still here on this piece of 25 count, 1/1. I've got a problem with 3 of my whips. This is one. Another one of my problems is this one, which I can't even remember the name of. It is a mini, it's called Snow something. It's problematic because I've got a problem with my old Fire tablet, which I've got over there, and I plugged in this morning and thought, let's put some charge in this old beast. No, not taking any charge at all. It's basically a useless item, but it has Pattern Keeper on it, and it has 5 or 6 patterns on it. It's Mini Sunflower Cottage, Mini Winter something, whatever that is on it, and The Better to See You With is on it, which is a substantial pattern. I'm going to have to contact Charting Creations and see if I can rebuy the pattern, because yeah, so those 2 are on the no pile. Problematic, full stop. Possibly never going to get done. It is what it is. Okay, then we're on to some things that I've actually done. Oh, I'll show you this one first. It wasn't in my whip parade for the end of last year, even though I stitched on it before then. It is here. This is Blossom Park. It's a Max colour. It is amazing. Where is it on my little phone? There. Yes, definitely before Flossmas. It's by Andy Russell, and it is amazing picture, and I absolutely love it. Piece of 25 count, which I started Cosmic Marbles on and UFO'd Cosmic Marbles. Cosmic Marbles was here. There was my start. It was tiny, and I'm not stitching Cosmic Marbles possibly ever. So that's another sad one that I saw, loved, started, and junked. So here is Blossom Park. It is sitting at 0.14%. Yeah, that's it. But, you know, I think this is going to be a long-term retirement project. I want to get some of my bookshelves boxed off and done and out of the way before I want to put some stitches into it. Not right now, but it's not one that I'm going to try and complete in the next decade. Let's be honest. We're talking in decades for these. Yeah. So one I've actually stitched on. Yay! Bountiful bookshelf. I thought I might do a heck of a lot more on this, but I've come to a slidey stop on it. So I'm probably just going to pop it away for now. So the last time I filmed at the Whip Parade, it looked like this. It was at 9.18% at my end of year Whip Parade. Now it's at 10.42%, and it now looks like this. So I finished off Snow White, and I did this book, which has various iterations of what it is. I had several people give me really good indications of who this book is. Anyway, it's stitched, and I've put in a little bit along here, put in on, if there's stitches on my, if there's colours on my needle that are up here, I'll do these two, but it actually, you can see the full bookshelf goes right up there, and I haven't done, and right to the side there, that is the corner stitch, I believe. No, it's not. Corner stitch will be there. So I've actually got border and bookshelf and behind the books to go on there to finish off this bit here, even though that bit there is stitched in. Sorry, the light's cutting in and out. But I'm very pleased with it. There's a lot more on it here and there. It's on 18 count Aida, and it's a standard version. I looked in to changing to max colour. You cannot. There is, as a standard size, that's it. The next thing you can do is super size max colour, and you can't change to a super size. You can't change from a regular size to a super size. I think I could probably figure out from normal colour to max colour, but not to a super size, because that's obviously enormously bigger. So on balance, I'm glad I'm not doing it super size. I only have enough room in my life for one of those, and he's big. So that's that. Love it. And Treasure Hunt Bookshelf was at exactly 20% on the 1st of January. It is now at 26.13. I have caught myself up. Last time I filmed, about a week ago already, I was only at 25.5 something. So I've put in 4,000 stitches more, maybe more, onto my Treasure Hunt Bookshelf. And excitingly for me, I'm just going to literally show you where it is. I've got the picture from year end, so you should have already seen what it's going to look like finished. I've inserted a lovely big picture here where I took a picture of it on the floor, and I'll do the same when I finish filming and insert it in here as well. Possibly do that for the key, because that's the other one I can't show you all of in one go. Exciting for me, yesterday I found the bottom. Look, this is where I am. There is the bottom of my fabric. For the first time in my Treasure Hunt Supersize Max Colour Treasure Hunt Bookshelf adventure, epic adventure. Look, all of this is the bottom of the fabric. For the first time I have found the bottom. So I finished off my stitches mostly up here for the month, stitching in 939 and 310 to get me where I needed to go. I have completely covered the splodge of where I dropped biscuit, dunked wet biscuit, which is all hidden here. The dirty mark from that is completely stitched over now. I'm still just stitching in odd greens here, but then I found this green here, and then I noticed the green was here. So I went down there and went to scroll my pattern keeper and went, what's wrong with it? Oh no, my pattern keeper's broken. Why can't I scroll down? Yeah, I'm at the bottom, because I've never been to the bottom of this pattern. So there's 4 colours in a chunk here. 936, 934, 3177. Yeah, 3077. The very dark brown and black. So I'm going to do some here to have a line. I want a little line, not 1,000 stitches long, but along the bottom, just to say, look, I made it to the bottom. So it's changed quite a bit since I filmed my Whip Parade, I've got a lot of the 823 stitched in. I thought I might colour complete the 823. I'm still going strong colour completing my 823. I've got about 3,000 stitches left to go. And I went a little off piece there, got myself behind and had to catch up quick. So did a big chunk of 939, which was like 3,000 stitches ish, I think I put in there. So that really helped grab my stitches. And my aim for this is to stitch 1% a month. I am in my 27th month of stitching on it, and I'm 26, so I'm in for the month. I'm on my July stitches. 2 months since I've started it. Actually, July last year and June this year, I've not finished because life gets super busy. Life takes over for a bit, and I got a bit behind. So I'm caught up, and now I just need to do my stitches for the month. And this is the only thing that I've set myself a goal, because I want this finished. I gave myself 10 years, a supersized Max Colour Haid. I gave myself 10 years. If I stitch 12% a year, it's actually less. It's 8.5, I think. So I'm on track. That's the only thing I try and stick to every month. Put him there. He lives with me constantly. Constantly. That's my pile of Haids done. So my next section are full coverages that are not Haids. Here they are. I have 2 new starts in these. What have I got here? Okay, so top of the list is the Bothy Threads kit, the 12 Days of Christmas, which I started in the hope of giving them to my mum for Christmas last year. Failed, missed. I am 8 in, 4 to go. I need to pull my finger out and get these done because it's stupid not to finish them. So I haven't stitched on them at all this year, exactly where they were when I showed you at the end of last year. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 perfectly in 6 months, did 1 a month. Got to a slidey stop on 7. 7 simply needs the gold stitched along its bottom and it will be finished. And then I couldn't find 8, the pattern for 8 wasn't there. So I did 10. So 10's not finished. I need to do 8, 9, finish 10, 11 and 12, which is super doable. I think it is possibly a 16 count or 18 count DMC Ada. It was gridded. I had to wash it. Cosmo peed on it as a kitten and it had to be washed. So it's been washed. The gold washed out really nicely. So this has already been washed. Oh, it's here. It's written on the side. DMC. Yes, definitely DMC. Doesn't say what it is, but you can see as you wash it, can you see this is not stretched because this is like a solid piece of binding on the edge. It now kind of crinkles, but it was gridded. It's not gridded. I can finish this. I've got another piece of gridded, same size, 16 or 18. It's in the bag with the rest of the threads and everything. So 3 French hens, 4 calling birds. They're all there. I could really just get on with finishing this. I'm going to put this in the please keep me out pile. Okay, then I've got my dodgy Chinese kits, which I bought. I think I've got 4 or possibly 6 dodgy Chinese kits, possibly 5. And I was hankering after a new start this week actually, so I started the second one. And I shopped from Stash because I really fancied a new start. I was really drawn to doing a Barbara Anna, and then I just found I call them dodgy Chinese kits. They are unlicensed. I'm going to show them because really, not moody. Yeah, anyway, I fully understand the implications of these kits. Just let's say that, and then I'm going to stitch them anyway. So I bought these from Tapestry Market, shipped from China, and this one is Merida. It's her with, you can see this is all going to be her with her bow and some background. The background is all 939, I believe. Yellow 939. Yes, the background is all 939 and it is 3 strands, and basically it's easy stitching. you just find the colour, and it's printed well, because the print lines up with the holes, so I don't need to. It comes with a bit of a chunky pattern, but I can't follow that because it's rubbish. So basically, there you go. You can see it's very easy to do. 3 strands, full cross, and I'm just chugging away at that one. I haven't stitched on it at all this year. I'm not going to stitch on it anymore this year, probably. This one I probably will do. This is the Spirited Away, the water dragon, very famous. I'll actually find a piece of artwork that shows it because I love it. It will be for Maddie, my eldest daughter, who has always been a huge Spirited Away fan. And I pulled this out because the colours are glorious. Here are the colours. I assume this is like CXC or something similar. It feels very much like my CXC set. Actually, it's not CXC I've got, it's another Chinese, no brand, full set I was given, which I'm using for my bugs, which we'll talk about when I get to them. But as you can see, the colours are my colours, all completely up my street. I fancied the colours, I pulled it out. I started it a couple of days ago. It's probably easier to show you how much I've stitched on the back. And I started in the middle with the dragon. And then the more I stitched him, the more I thought, is this actually going to look like what it's meant to look like, or is it going to look like a blob? So I'm going to stitch it and find out. So I've stitched in that bit. You can see there's our little Spirited Away girly. There's the dragon's head, his tendrils, and there he is in the sky with the swirly sky. Now the sky is 2 colours predominantly. We are looking at 158, a very blue purple, and 12, which is 792, another blue purple. And the dragon is blue purple. Are we going to be able, this is what I need to find out. Are we going to be able to see this dragon or not? So I'm stitching in like a band. I'm stitching the dragon in, and I'm going to stitch a band round the dragon, right down. And if we can't see him, we know where we are with these kits. Realistically, this is 11 count. This should be a full size, super size, max colour Haid. It's not. It's 11 count. It's 40 stitches by, oh no, it's 129 by 173. The detail is not going to be there. We know this. I know this. Still putting it back in a Q-snap. So I've actually moved it down a little bit now so I can do his head. So I started that. Let's run the experiment, because lots of people have reviewed these, lots of people have started them. I haven't actually seen a lot of people finish them who talk. There's quite a lot of stitch with me's, or it's just like accompanying, and it's got either music behind it, or it's just literally, or ASMR, somebody stitching with big long acrylic nails doing the stitching. And I like to listen because I'm stitching as I'm listening to FlossTube. If someone says, hey, look at this, I'll look up. Otherwise, I'm stitching, or I listen to Mr. Bolan or someone, you know, telling me a story, or I listen to somebody doing a history, not even so much a podcast, but documentary that I can listen to, like Lucy Worsley or Dan, oh, what's he called? Dan Jones, very favourite, and the same Dan Snow, you know, history, British history, stuff like that. I can listen to it. If something sounds exciting, I'll look up and watch. I struggle to stitch during World War II naval documentaries because I watch them. I catch myself watching them because that's a slight interest of mine. So, you know, other than that, I can listen to endless history and, you know, horror stories and murder stories and, you know, all the stuff we all listen to while we're crafting. That's generally what I do. So, yeah, I went off piece again there. Right, okay, ooh, lovely. I've stitched on her. Something I've actually stitched on. Here is Ariel, who is a Mandy Manzano that I bought from Etsy. Picture of it fully finished here. When I did my whip parade, it was sitting at 14.7% and looked like this, because I've pulled a picture, I know. Now it looks like this, and I have, oh come on light, there we go. I've found the corner here, and it is at 16.7%. It's going to fill this fabric. Oh, I dropped that the wrong way, didn't I? It's going to fill this fabric. So as you can see, I've got quite a long way to go. But I filled in some of the gaps. The light's not brilliant, I'm sorry. I filled in some of the gaps in her. I did odd stitches in her face, and then I stitched along the top and found the corner. Right, one of my girls is moving upstairs. We'll see. Flora is out today. She's at a sixth form in Carlisle to have her like inset day to see that she likes it, and I know she will because it's the school she wants to go to. So it's a train ride for us now, or it will be in September. She had her inset day at the local school, which is a 8-minute walk from here, but she doesn't want to go there. She wants to go on a train ride every day. Anyway, the other two girls are home, so by and by they'll get up and we might have to pause a bit as they come in and grumble at me. So they tend to. Well, Maddie does anyway. Anyway, done for the year. Probably done for the year. I'll put it away. Then I've got my little new start that I just started on New Year's Day. The last one I did my recording, or I started it on New Year's Eve, I think, and it was at 7.49. It is from Artisy. It is the little mini nutcracker. I'll put a little picture of it here. And I stitched on it a little bit more. It is now at 20.64%, and he is there. There is my little nutcracker, which I like very much. Stitched by Liz is doing this, and I watched her whip parade and went, okay, I need to buy that. Went and bought it and started it as I watched her. So it's a scrap of DMC gridded Aida because it's red. You can always tell it's DMC because they grid in red. And I think it's 18 or it might be 16. It doesn't matter. It's going to be that big, and it's lovely and I really like it. And it was quite a fun one to just pull and start, and very easy to get a little bit of stitching on very quickly. I'll stitch on that nearer Christmas. Okay, Kingdom of Books, the Russian kit will look like this when it's finished. I have found its pattern, I have got its threads. It has not changed, it still looks like this, and I still need to do a little bit on it because it's a beautiful piece. I'm stitching the background. The few I've seen done, they've got hand-dyed fabric. I'm stitching it. I'm not stitching it on the kit fabric though. It came as a kit with 14 count, I think. I bought a piece of 18 count. It is Nasty No Brand from Hobbycraft. I wish it perhaps was a piece of Zweigart because it would be easier to stitch on. But I'm only doing 2 strands as opposed to 3 strands, and it's coming out really nicely. But I obviously haven't stitched on it in forever, and I have no immediate plans to stitch on it in forever. What I am going to do is harvest those 2 magnets off it, because that is a thread drop magnet and that is a normal size magnet, so that I can use those to make one thread drop with. I don't know why they're on there. Well, obviously I was holding the pattern on with them, but why a thread drop magnet I don't know, because they're bigger. They're much bigger. They're 12mm magnets I use for thread drops, and they're ever, compared to the 10mm magnets, which sounds no difference at all, they're a lot stronger. Moondragon, which was at 6.58% when I last filmed, and is now at 7.4%. So he is now here. Obviously I've stitched on him just that little tiny bit, maybe just a week or so far this year. He's lovely. I'm taking all the background out, so this is percentage wise as if I was stitching the background. It'll be about 14 or 15%. Look at his little face. Again, got the pattern off Etsy. I'm trusting the process. I don't think some of the colours in him go, like the tip of his mouth there is a very different sort of tone to the rest of him. I'm trusting the process. that he's going to look stunning when he's finished. I think that's a very beautiful piece of artwork that's been put through a pattern machine, and unlike Haid, where Michelle goes round them all, how she does it, I don't know. She must just be so skilled and practiced that she can pick out where the colour's wrong and she'll rechart that colour so that it looks perfect. But that's why we pay for Haids. Well, most of us buy them in the sale, but that's why we all stitch Haids, because we trust her process so much, because it's so good. I think this is going to be more of a, I've stitched it, it's on the wall, oh my god, it's amazing. But when you put it up close, I don't think those, I think that should have been grayer. Do you see what I mean? The moon's quite cohesive, but then these colours here, and I'm thinking, oh, do they or don't they? Anyway, trusting it, going with it. Have done a little bit more on it this year, gridding as I go with the filament because I have to, and yeah, the long tall tail of this piece of dyed, stitched twice and re-dyed fabric is told before many times. If you've watched me, I won't go over it again. Anyway, I've done some Moondragon going away. Okay, the better to see you with is on this piece of washed 20 count. I'm going to take the needle out of that because I can use that for something else. There it is. Pathetic start, absolutely ridiculously pathetic start, and I've now lost the pattern because it's on a dead tablet. So I'm going to, I'll email Charting Creations and see what she says, basically. And that will probably decide what I do with this piece of 20 count Aida, because I was going to finish it, I was going to get on with it. Now I can't access the pattern because my tablet has died to death. And the charger's good, but there's not that many patterns on it anyway. And the ones that are on it I've kind of junked, so I will contact Charting Creations though and ask them about that, because they'll clearly have the record that I've purchased the pattern, so she might let me repurchase it at a replacement cost rather than a, well, start again. If it's a start again cost, because it was an expensive pattern, they're literally about £30, I might not. Heads up. Okay, I've got City of Love here. Picture of, it looks like it's finished. I've definitely stitched on it this year. It's at 21.19%, which is here. I did pull a picture from my Whip Parade, but it was blurry, like action shot blurry. So yeah, I've stitched quite a bit on this. I really like it. I'd really like to get on with it and get it finished. 21, quarter done would be lovely, 25% would be lovely, but it's not going to get stitched on right now, so I'll put it away for now. And then I've got a new start, which is a pattern I pulled off Etsy, again with two thread keep magnets, thread drop magnets. Unbelievably strong, these little beasties. Anyone who's got one of my thread drops will know. Etsy plug, sorry about that. Anyway, and I'm planning new thread drops, so wait on for those. Here is all I've done of this swan. It's pixely because it's meant to be pixely. I hopefully put up a picture of what it looks like done. And there's my little start on a piece of, on 20 count Aida, which was my original key start. I can tell that because it's got the ribbon down the side. As you can see, I found a piece big enough. I overlocked because I have a serger. My mum kindly rehomed her serger to me. I put a bit of denim around it because it was the first fabric I came to, and there we go. That's a little tiny bit there of a start. Gonna leave it out for now. Gonna leave it out for now. So, other than that, I've just got Lola Crow or What the Cat Saw, which is being changed to be Eric. I've just got the wallpaper to stitch. I've still just got the wallpaper to stitch. I was doing 1 strand a day. That lasted a week. And I've still got the wallpaper to stitch. This is on the same fabric. Is that the same fabric? That's not the same fabric. That is the same fabric. Same ribbon, edge. 20 count. 1/1. Change the cat to look like Eric. I've got a little bit of back stitch to do in the sails and all the wallpaper to stitch in. Oh, it's my little Eric. Eric update. He is super happy living at my parents'. He is a spoilt little pussycat. They love him. He loves them. They're in a routine until they turn around and go, we can't cope with having an animal anymore. They've got a cat. Eric lives with them now. And he's very, very happy. He goes outside. He does his business outside. So they're happy with that because they hate the litter tray. And he goes out, he does his business, and he comes back in again. And then he just basically sticks to them like glue all the time. He does get them up very early in the morning though for food. But they're in a routine now. So I just need to finish that off. There. I'm leaving that out for sure because I need to finish that. Because it's silly that it's not. Right, I'm just going to have a little pause, get a new cup of coffee, and we're going to do long dog samplers and then everything else. This is looking like it's going to time out at about 1.5 hours. I'll see you in the blink of an eye. Right, I'm back. You'll have to excuse me. I've made myself some jammy toast, so I will be eating that. So if you can't bear that, don't worry. Okay, we're on to long dog samplers now. First in my pile, well, in the middle of my pile, but the first one I'm going to show you is Pandemic, which I think everybody owns a Pandemic. It was free for a little while, and excuse me, I'm just really hungry, and a lot of us downloaded it while it was free. I went bananas. It's got 2 needles in it. What am I doing? Anyway, I'm just putting them on the magnets. I bought a piece of Tidal. Picture this plus Tidal. It's green. Oh my god, that's the colour it is. There's my Pandemic. I have not stitched on it this year. It is at 13.18%. I am using Mrs. Sadus Hydrangea because I really wanted the tone on tone lacy kind of look. Very deliberately done. Using 1 strand of silk. It's 40 count, so 1/2, and I love it. It's paler than that. It's about that colour in real life. It's very, very pale, and I love it, and I need to get on with it. I really, really need to put a few strands into Pandemic to the point where I'm going to keep it out for now. Good. Santa Quill was at 25.1%. It's still at 25.1%. I stitched on this in Flossmas. It's there. I'm using the good old Quicksilver dinky dye, which I use a lot. There's a few beads in the hairs, and that's where it is. This is on a piece of Weeks Dye Works purple. It's 30 count, pure purple, I think it's called. I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't. It's only a scrap, just a little scrap of fabric I got, and I've used the other piece on Cow Pile, which I finished. So there we go. I'll wait till Christmas, at least. Forbidden Fruit, 6.74%, has not changed. On a piece of Be Stitch Me Marine, 40 count. That's where I am, that's where it remains, that's where it stays. And then we've got, Count Your Blessings, 12.09%, not stitched on it again. This is on 28 count 1/1. I'm using an Anchor conversion, an Anchor multicolour extravaganza. I am going to stitch this. I will stitch it. Not anytime soon. Okay, another one that's not changed is the new normal, still at 80. Oh, no, it has. I've done like 2 strands in this. It's gone from 18.3 to 18.84. So it's now, oh, I might have put a picture up. Hopefully I'm putting these pictures up while I'm speaking and not telling you. It looked like this at the Whip Parade, and now it looks like this. Almost no change. I need to fix the horse because I can't see the patchy pony. Other than that, it will get sorted out. New normal is one of my 4. Yes, these 4 here are my leap year 4 to finish in 4 years. So here's one, the new normal. The next one is Gone to Pieces, which has grown a tiny bit. It was at 20.55 and looked like this. It's now at 21.54. I've done 1% and looks like this. I think I filled in some of this colour in the jigsaw piece up there. It looks like this. Look at it, it's shocking. It's on 36 count granite, one of my favourites. That's from Lakeside Needlecraft here in the UK. It's basically a fabric flare fabric, but it's branded. It's branded as Lakeside Needlecraft fabric. They're like exclusives just for them. And I love this granite. It's kind of showing well. It's definitely green tone rather than grey tone. Hello. Right. Sorry about that. I have finished my toast anyway, so that's good. Right, I think I finished Gone to Pieces. Told you about that. I'm just going to carry on with that. That stays out, as does this little one, which is Happily Ever After. Picture of it here. At the end of the year, it was at 4.18% after I started it in Flossmas, so it looked like this then. I have done a little tiny bit more on it since then and trapped it with a needle. There we go, harvest that needle. And it now looks like this. So I've done a few more of the boxes and it's at 5.97% now, which I know is not massive, but we'll get there. So this again is on my 4-year, let's get it done in 4 years. And on a piece of, I think it's around about 18 count Ada that was pre-dyed a lilac-y splodgy. It was pre-dyed the same as Sea Beacon. There, so the lilac-y splotch. And I over-dyed it. So all you've got left of that is the navy blue splotches. So it's kind of blue and grey camo almost there. So that's going to be Happily Ever After on there. So he's staying out and going in my 4-year plan. And the last one, of course, is the Pointed Fifth, which I have stitched on and you've all seen hundreds of times. At the turn of the year, it was at 48.62%. It's now at 55.17. Looks like this. Absolutely glorious. Still love it. Every time I touch it, I want to stitch on it, but I'm going to quickly fold it back up and put it back in the pile before I put it in a Q-snap and stitch on it, because it's not its turn. Okay, 2 more long dogs to show you. My only paper pattern one is Dilemma, which I have not stitched on at all this year. Can't tell you where I am with it. I'm here with it. Don't even know if that's the right way up. It is. There we go. This is on another piece of granite, exactly the same, 36 count, 1 strand of Karen Waterlily pomegranate. I'm doing the full border first and then I'll fill in the pictures. And instead of doing a 9 box, I'm doing a 16 box to do all 16 of the insert pictures. But I've got to keep trucking and do the border, and obviously I'm reusing bits of border to make it that much bigger. So haven't stitched on that at all this year. I'm putting it in the not just now pile because I'm probably not going to stitch on it anytime soon. And then we've got a new start since Christmas. My big long skinny It Will Be Jack Be Nimble, which will look like this, but it won't actually look like this at all, which I've shown you lots of times in my videos recently, so I'm not going to explain what I'm doing other than the fact that I'm stitching it in a big long line rather than a square. So the first piece I'm stitching, I've almost finished. All I need to do, this is the bottom, this is what I decided would be the bottom of my big long line, which looked like the most solid piece. So this is all like the bottom third of one of the columns in the picture. I've just got to finish off these dangly fruit, whatever they are. Done the anchors, there's a seagull here and a seagull there. I'll stitch them in when I finish this dangly fruit. And then I'll pop this away and rotate one of the other long dogs out. This is on a piece of 20 count Aida that I dyed a lot to try and get it splodgy and dark. I lost my temper with it. I put it in the microwave. It is singed a bit. I've got Maddie sitting here painting now, she's up, and she just looked at me like, you did what? Trying to set the dye, I got cross. And especially there, you can really see the browns there. Yeah, that's singeing, but it'll be on the side, it'll be out of the way. I placed it on the least singy bit. And there's Jack Be Nimble. I'm using a Karen Waterlily Opal and 2 strands, even though it's 20 count and I've dyed it a lot. It's still measuring 20 count, but 1 strand was a little bit gappy for my liking, so I'm doing 2 strands because I really feel it needed to be strong. So there, so I'm just going to finish off this little bit here, which will take me to, it's 15.38, so it won't even be 16% when I pop it away, but that's the first bottom piece done. The next section I'm doing will be a whole section of the pattern. I'm going straight up one full column next, so that's going to be very easy to follow along with. I'm doing it in Pattern Keeper, and I'm just finding the bit I'm stitching and I'm stitching the pattern, just starting it where I start, and that's my key to start and carry on. And it will be about 1 metre long, which I bought this piece of fabric to stitch the little Dreamers tree on, which, let's be honest, I'm not going to stitch anytime soon anyway, but it was just an offcut on Lakeside Needlecraft. They have sale fabrics and they're all little weird offcut pieces where she's custom cut fabric for people, and they are very inexpensive. This piece of fabric, as 20 count gridded Aida was £5 or something, but obviously I've dyed it and dyed it and dyed it to try and get it a different colour, using one of my single colour thread drops there, which I found upstairs. It's one of the original ones I made, so I just found it and thought, right, I'll use it. I think it's one I was using on Treasure Hunt bookshelf before I developed the 3-hole, because it's still got the jump rings on it, so I think that's what it is. Anyway, here we go. So he's staying out, but he's only staying out till I finish that tiddly bit of pattern. I tried to get it done this morning and didn't quite get it finished. So that's my long dog samplers. I've currently got 10 in process, a couple of UFO'd, one's in timeout. My Castles in the Air is still in timeout until I can figure out what I'm doing with that. I need to be a big girl and stitch it, basically, but because it's utterly beautiful, but until I can sort myself out enough to figure out where I am and why I make so many mistakes, that's where it is, in timeout. Okay, we've got everything else and there's quite a big pile, so I'm just going to jump straight in on the everything else with a Russian kit called Peaceful Street. I'll put a picture up here because I've obviously got a picture of it. Bought at the same time as Kingdom of Books, and it's still exactly where it was. This is about a third of it, but because there's 3 buildings, the parky bit, and 3 buildings on the other side. It's the kit fabric, I think it's 14 count, and you use 3 strands. Yeah, it's lovely. I just need to work on it occasionally. No, not yet. Okay, then I've got my Mill Hill houses thing. Loads more needle-minded magnets. I've got so many needle-minder magnets that really should just be stuck on needle minders. I know this is because I use paper patterns, but these are really big, strong magnets. I don't need to use that strong a magnet to stick patterns on with. So there's 4 more harvested. So I've found so far 5 needles and that many magnets, so that's good. Carry on. Okay, so I've got 2 started. I've got the train station and the Daily News started here, and I think I've got 14 of these, which I'm going to stitch in 2 lines, one above the other, on this huge piece of 14 count Silvery Moon or something. It's printed, but it's perfect for Mill Hills because they stitch on 14 count perforated paper, which I don't like. I do not like perforated paper. So there's the railway station, is a bit more finished than the Daily News, which is there, and I'm going to pop that back on the pile, and I'm going to say Flossmas, and leave it at that for now. Then I've got my Seasons Girls, my Nick Moscow Barbara Anna kit that I bought from Nick Moscow a long time before all the nonsense, the hideousness kicking off again between Russia and Ukraine got going. And I still love these patterns. So last year I had Winter, she was there, she's still there, but now we have almost all of spring. I thought I'd stitch some spring in spring, and there's my spring in spring. She's not finished, but she's a good go of her. You can see now there's enough fabric to stitch all 4 of them separately, not in the long line, and I've got those oval frames to put them in to frame them eventually, but I will gently clean these because there is coffee all over it. Over there. Then we've got, oh crikey, I've got so much stuff in this pile. This pile is the don't ever get touched pile. I've got my Lakeside Needlecraft band sampler, has not moved from where I did the tiddly tiny little bit of stitching on it and some frogging way back when. I probably put a picture up just then of what it looks like finished, and I've not done anything on it. My Renato Parolin big cushion is still just a touch over half done. I need to put some stitching into this. This is stitched with Dinky Dye Mother of Pearl, absolutely beautiful, on Colonial Blue. Might have the picture, might not have the picture. Picture's just behind, 2 seconds. Right, some of these have the pictures. No, it was Seasons. Right, no. I'll put a picture up of what this looks like. I'm sure I've got a picture of it. It's called Something and Friends, I think, but I need to get on with it. It's beautiful. I will finish it as a cushion because that's clearly what it wants to be. I did a day stitching on it in Flossmas, and that was really all. What now? Oh, Night Walk Down, that I finally put some work into over Flossmas. Night Walk Down's not changed since then. It still looks like this, and I'll have put a picture up. I do need to stitch on this every now and again because I love it, and I don't understand why I don't stitch on it, but I don't. Over there. Okay, Russian kit of a snow globe, a winter snow globe here. Has not moved from where it was. It's still there. Have no clue as when there's some hydrangea silk, unmistakably Mrs. Sada's hydrangea silk, which I'll put on there, and I'll stitch that into Pandemic. No idea if and when I will get back to this, get on with this, finish this. It's not huge, it's just easy peasy, even though it's on black. It's on Black Ada, it's not hard. That's just the picture, that's not even the pattern or the threads. Okay, I put it in with its own picture. I thought it was all in there and it's not. Oh well. Okay. Then we've got something else that hasn't changed is my Renato Parolin Seasons pattern that I started in Flossmas. They are there, they look like that. I started Winter, which is this one I think. I did a very rough conversion to fancy threads and I'm stitching it on this huge piece of vellum that I was gifted, that is 18 count. It's a half yard of vellum that I was gifted, which I'm very thankful for. Very little picture of this plus fabric round here. And that's what I did in Flossmas. Just that much in a day and a bit, I think. I think I did a little bit more after that, but only a touch. So that's all I've got going on with him. But I will get back to that as and when. Right, Modern Folk Embroidery 2021 Sal, which the last time I filmed the Whip Parade looked like this. It was at 25.0, turn the page in my book, it was at 25.6% and it's at 30 something. I should have looked it up before I filmed because it's on my phone now, because I stitched May in May. So now it looks like this with May completed in the middle there. That is my first wonky. I kept this one because it was wonky. My two colour thread drop needle minder. For some reason it got all distorted. It looks like a gnome now with its little hat on to a point. Normally they're quite even. So I kept him, and I'm using him with my two colours, which are 155 and 333, and it's about there. It's on a beautiful piece of 40 count Bestitch Me punch that I was given. So that's quite a good representation of its colour, and I've still got 2/3 of it to go. I'm thinking we're probably going to be around 33%, but I've done some of that for this year, so he's gone away. Right, I've got just a few left here now, and my fancy lady, so there's always more than you think there is. Okay, Stitching Goddess Tiny Modernist hasn't changed at all. She still looks like this. She's still waiting to be finished. She's lovely. Haven't stitched on her, not going to stitch on her probably for a while now. I've got my, from Flossmas, my Shannon Christine Designs. Oh, Cosmo's scratched on these, there's blood on it. It will get washed. When his neck was bad and he was scratching a lot, I'm just trying to work out what that was, and now I can see clearly what it is. Yuck. So they're now at, when I filmed my Whip Parade, they were just started in Flossmas, and it looked like this. Blurry picture, I'm sorry. Now, because I have stitched on them, it looks like this, and the winter stamps are at 36.17 and the Christmas stamps are at 36.68. So loosely 2.5 of each of them, excuse me, have been stitched. So I'm getting on. I'll put them away for a bit and bring them back out later in the year and carry on. I do want them finished for Christmas so I can turn them into little ornaments for the tree. Right, we've got two Emma Congdons, both on navy blue. Everything's Better with a little bit of magic, which I took out of a Cross Stitcher October 2021, which is obviously when I started that. And has not changed, has not moved, has not done any on it since here. Same as Whip Parade, so definitely not this year. Probably pick it up in the autumn. This is on 18 count navy blue Ada. It will be beautiful when it's done, but it's not done. And really should just do some on it. Then we've got You Are All Kinds of Amazing, which is again Emma Congdon, and I can put a picture up of that, I know, because I have it, and I have stitched on this. In my Whip Parade it looked like this, and now it looks like I need something behind it because it's very see-through. This is on a piece of 40 count even weave that I dyed navy blue, and it now looks like that. It's a very muty version. I converted it to anchor threads that I had, so that's what I'm using. It's just basically muted anchor threads that I already had in stash. I just picked colours that were close. I still want to get to the tigers. I'm still forcing myself to stitch the things that aren't the tigers, but we'll get there. We'll get there with him. I'm confident I'll get there with that one, you know, within a reasonable amount of time. Okay, so then we've got this one's called Winter Fairy Tale, possibly. Where is it? Not too sure. I think it was at 22.34%. Or it might be at 22.34% now. I'm not sure. I'll probably put it up on the screen. I'll put a picture up of what it looked like. It was gridded on Gridded Ada. Again, DMC Gridded Ada, but I had to wash it because I had a coffee incident, and it looks like this now. With a big blob of coffee up there, but we're not going to talk about that. And that's where we are with him. I did stitch a bit on it up here. There's a lot of 820, I think, which is one of the best blues to put in it, and I'll get on with it nearer winter, I think. So my two Carriage House samplers, Carriage House samplings, and today I have finally turned up the Shores of Hawkrun Hollow pattern, thankfully, because it has been missing in action for a long time. I knew I had it here, I just didn't know where it was. I pulled it wanting to stitch on it and couldn't find the pattern. So this will look like this. This is my oldest whip. It'll look like this, except it's not going to look like this at all. And looking at the pattern as it stands, I'm going to stitch oh crikey, I think I'm going to come and do this house this year rather than this. This looks a bit full coveragey. I'm going to stitch this house this year. So here is my multicoloured version. Oh no, I'll show you what it looked like last Whip Parade. I hadn't quite finished the years. I do a block a year basically, so I hadn't quite finished my yearly block, which I have now finished. It's there. It's a multicoloured version of Carriage House Samplings one, and I'm going to go down here, and it's going to be this block here that I stitch this year with a big house in the middle of it. Yeah, that's going to be cool. I don't know what colour I'm going to stitch the house yet. I will see how I feel. Obviously there isn't a single colour that's charted. It's literally just what I fancy, and it's multicoloured. It's on a piece of pale blue fabric that is witch salt, which is awful, but I didn't know. My first whip, and I picked this as a first whip because of course I did. Why start small when you can stitch something huge? And yeah, so I'm going to go for this block for this year, and then I really want to stitch this one, so I'm going to have to bring myself round and down to stitch him next year. Keeping him out, most definitely, it's its turn. Then I've got the other Carriage House sampling, which I'm doing the same thing for, stitching a block a year, Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow, which will look like this, except it won't because my fabric is different. I am using the DMCs, except for where I'm subbing in Fancy Floss, and then I'm just making it up as I go along. And if things don't match, I'm like on the first block where the skeleton should have been dark, here he had to be white, because he's on dark fabric. Now my fabric is Blurple, and I'm there, which I can't see at all, but hopefully I'm in screen there. So last year, so I've been stitching on this for 3 years. Last year I finished off the centre block, which took me 2 years because it's the double block. And obviously that's the pull. That's why I wanted to stitch this piece there. So I don't know which one I'm going to stitch this year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which block I'm going to stitch this year. I've stitched the block I wanted to stitch, which was the middle one. I will do all of it though, obviously. I've got keys to start any of all of them because I've started the border or stitched the border of all the blocks. So those ones are already bordered out, and these ones I've got the start. So I could stitch this one here if I wanted to, because I've got the right spacing there for it. We'll see what I fancy doing in October, and we'll think about that in October. But that's a Halloween stitch. So I've got one whip that's 6 whips and 3 fancy ladies to go, and we'll be done. It's going to be a long one. Right, so the bugs that I started, I'll put up some sort of picture of them here. In Flossmas, I'm stitching them on 18 count black Aida. I think they're all at, hang on. I didn't need to hang on, they're on my old phone. I didn't put them on my new phone because I just didn't. Right, I'm really going to go very quickly. Who's he? He's the wasp. So what I did, I started them in Flossmas, and then I stitched on them again. I stitched on every one of them again, and then stitched on them later and brought them all up to at least 40% done. So that's the Dragonfly, 40.56. I'm just writing them down really quick, and then I can, Ladybird, I believe they're all up over 40%. That one's the Butterfly. So some of them will look a lot more finished than others because some of them have got a lot more stitching. The Bee is at, oh I have, well done me. Let's just check the Spider. Spider will be the last one. Yes, they're all above 40%. There we go. So the Spider looked like this at the end of the year, and it was at 9.79. He is now at 40.22 and he looks like that. The Wasp was at 29% and looked like this. He is now at 40.1 and looks like that. Then we have the Dragonfly, which was at 21.15. Dragonfly is now at 40.56. That's there. The Bee was at, find the Bee. The Bee was at 22.56 and is now at 40.05. So I've got wings basically to go on the Bee. He's lovely. And the Ladybird was at 27.57. Looks very similar, but I've stitched in some of the black. Is now at 40.47. These spots aren't stitched, these spots are. Black Aida, who knows what I've stitched, really, could be anything. And the Butterfly was at 19, that needle's still joined on, I'll leave him on there. And the Butterfly was at 19.28 and is now at 40.33. So there's the Butterfly, and hopefully I've inserted the right pictures in the right places and it looks cohesive because it doesn't feel it now. I'm rattling through the last few. There we go. They're going to be brilliant. They'll be finished into hoops that I'm going to paint one of the colours in each of the design. I think there'll be 8-inch hoops, and then I'll have a series of 6 of them to put up somewhere. Right, so all I've got left is 3 fancy ladies. and they are my Celtic lavender and lace summer. Will look like this. I have stitched on this. I've done a little bit more in the top border. She now looks like this. I adore her, and I need to just get on with all of this, don't I really? So I've pretty much finished the stitching in the letters of summer and used up my threads as and where. Yes, the fabric's bananas, I'm aware. I hand dyed this to make it look like Blossom, and instead it looks like a Psychedelic Nightmare tie-dye escapade. But I've hidden the worst of the fabric where it's going to not show, i.e. down there. It gets more crazy to the bottom. It's slightly brighter in real life than it's showing, sadly. So I need to get on with her at some point. I'm very happy with her. I love the charting. Her hair is beautiful. There's no blends in that. That's just like 5 colours of DMC. The charting is amazing, and she will get done. She will get finished. It's just a case of when. And then I started really recently, haven't stitched on it since, the Bella Filipina Aphrodite, which still looks just like this, but in a Q-snap, determined, going to carry on. Most gorgeous piece of It's a Mystery, 32 count, which is perfect for the beads. And I've got a long way to go on my Bella Filipina, but it's my only Bella Filipina on the most beautiful piece of fabric, and it's cross stitches and a few fractionals and an awful lot of beads. So, and backstitch and beads. So it's a challenge. And then this is still in the whip pile. This is my Nora Corbett Gardenia, which I was having a wibble on at Christmas as to whether to just junk it. And I did make a decision, but I never talked about it because I forget. I've got the full bead pack with the treasure and everything is there that I bought from Arts and Designs. Fabulous British company. Use them. They're great. She's there. And this is my whip. Again, dyed the fabric the same day. You can see I was having a crazy day of fabric dyeing. I can't stand it on this fabric, even though I did it deliberately, and there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think it goes. The greens don't go. So I made the decision that I am going to finish her. I'm going to stitch her. I'm not going to finish this. I'm going to restart her and stitch her on something much more discreet. A cream, perhaps. An antique white and ivory. I'm going to stitch her because I love the picture, just not that piece there. So I will restart it. It's still in my whip pile because I needed to talk about her. I'll put her back in there because I've got the kit. I've got the kit up, I've got the treasures, I've got the beads, I bought them. I've got it. I may as well just do it, but not on that piece of fabric. I was being wildly optimistic that I would enjoy the craziness that is that piece of fabric. I will deal with this piece of fabric and the stitching on it. Basically, when I've finished her, I'll pass the stash, but it won't have the treasures in it because the treasures will be on mine. There will be leftover beads, obviously, but I'll pass this along once with this, once I've restitched her. And that's everything. That's my whips. There's some different, some more, some less, some that you haven't seen that you saw at Christmas because I finished a couple. Only a very few couple I finished. And some that are missing in action now, like Castles in the Air, because they're in her permanent sort of time out. So that's that. And that's my whip parade. So there we go, guys. Yeah, I've got lots to stitch on. There isn't really any reason that I need to buy and restart and start anything new because I have a huge pile. That one goes on that pile. So my piles are things to stitch on there and things to put away there. So there's more to put away than ones I'm going to work on in the immediate. By putting away, I mean putting a drawer upstairs. They're not going in permanent deep storage or anything. They're just going away from me right now. these ones are keeping down, and I'll work on as and when. Right, I'll be back for, this is already like stupidly long, so I'll be back for a normal floss tube probably in about a week now, I suppose, because I've touched base and shown you what I've done. And I'll see you really soon, and hope the rain on the roof's not been too annoying. Only it's pouring with rain here in bright sunny Cumbria. And I'll see you soon, guys. Bye bye.